On today's menu,
Jonathan Major's verdict is in.
Matt Reeves goes multiversal.
And pro wrestling has not one, not two, but three, new Hall of Famers.
All this and more on today's GeeKlare. This is GNN.
Jonathan Majors got fired after being found guilty of domestic violence. But he was found not guilty on two of the charges. Kang Dynasty was renamed internally as Avengers 5. They can recast but are expected to go with another villain.
So, quick background for those who don't know, they've been following this for months, but he was accused of domestic violence. The girl at one point recanted her story. The lawyers were saying that they had video evidence that was going to prove Jonathan Majors didn't do anything wrong. Well, that didn't work, and it went to trial, and he was found guilty of at least some of the stuff he was accused of, and now it's messed up his career. And I guess if, neither one of us know the guy personally, but I guess if we could say anything, we could say that
If we could say anything, it would be he's a good actor, and he probably should have kept his hands to himself. I mean, domestic violence kind of implies you smacked somebody or did something you shouldn't have with your hands to somebody else.
definitely, and whether that was retaliatory or not, we don't know, we weren't there, but it's fair to say that I'm sure both of them, in hindsight, regret their relationship now. I don't know how long or short or personal that relationship was, but I'm sure it's fair to say they both regret getting into it now. And now it's messed up Jonathan Majors' otherwise good career and otherwise good reputation. And that's a shame because he really was a great actor. He was supposed to be Kang. His career was set for the next few years, and now that's not happening. And allegedly, he even had one of those sweet Disney contracts where he was Kang no matter what. Sometimes in the Disney Marvel movies, there's inconsistency. Sometimes the X-Men are always the X-Men. Hugh Jackman is still Wolverine coming back in Deadpool 3, but all the Spider-Men look different, for example. And so people wondered why that inconsistency exists. It's because some people have the contract and some people don't, where only I can play this character unless I give you permission to recast it if I'm unavailable or what have you. But if you're fired for causation, they don't need your permission to recast you. And literally 1 or 2 hours after that verdict came in, Disney said they're done with Jonathan Majors, man.
That's gonna be rough.
That's gotta be very rough. Meanwhile, Ezra Miller's out here like, dude, you should have got my attorney.
I still haven't seen the new Flash. I know. Shame on me.
Just like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, both of them came out of it with tainted reputations, and that's unfortunate. Now, if we're talking recast, I think Victor Von Doom could be an option, maybe Galactus, maybe Silver Surfer, because Kang was supposed to be the next big bad, and now that's not happening. Any thoughts on who the next big bad should be?
I'd like to see them go. I mean, they never actually did do much with East Coast, West Coast Avengers like the comics. So I'd like to see them do something with the other coast and maybe have the other coast villain show up.
And now we've solved that problem, next is world hunger. Speaking of stuff that Disney owns, they own the Planet of the Apes franchise now, and they're doing another one, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, because that's really what the world was asking for. A, 50th Planet of the Apes movie? They've had way too many of those at this point.
Isn't it like the Galaxy of the Apes by now?
It really should be. This one was supposed to be following, Matt Reeves is no longer involved with it, but it was supposed to be a continuation of the Matt Reeves universe. And fans have been wondering for a while, is it going to be set 5 years, 10 years, 1 year afterward? Well, it turns out Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is set 300 years after the Matt Reeves trilogy. And the main character doesn't know he's related to Caesar. And it's like at that point, just do a new story. Why even connect it at that point?
What's the reason to say it was connected back to the old days? You know what I'm trying to say? If it's evolved that much, 300 years of evolution, that's a lot.
It is a lot. I'm guessing, we haven't seen the movie yet. Maybe there's a storyline reason why they do that. I'm just guessing they connected to the Matt Reeves Planet of the Apes trilogy because that's the recent one that everyone actually liked. I'm guessing that's the sole only reason, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the movie will be great. I don't know.
CGI will be awesome.
That is true. They will kill it with that.
And hopefully the script is good too, you know? Because basically it's a bunch of CGI, so it's like the actor's there, but is he or she really? There's a certain point where you just say it's an animated film, and sometimes there's live action actors in it.
They just get AI to replace the human actors and CGI to do the apes. There's no real humans in the movie at all. I could see that. That's the future.
I mean, it's 300 years in the future, so why not, you know? Like Avatar, but with apes.
I'd watch that.
Because they're blue or in the water.
Well, both. I mean, I loved the Smurfs when I was a kid, so Avatar's right there with it.
Yeah, they're Smurfs with tails. I can see that. Okay.
And speaking of stuff Matt Reeves made good, James Gunn was apparently so impressed with him that he's allowing Matt Reeves to go multiversal. James Gunn said on Threads that the upcoming Arkham TV show will be a DCU series, not an Elseworld series. But he confirmed that Elseworld stuff will still exist. And I don't know how to feel about that, because the whole thing with James Gunn taking over and rebooting DC was supposed to be that everything's connected. The live action, the animated, the video games, we're going to have the same actors doing the voices. Everything's going to be neat and tidy and interconnected. And now he's saying, oh, but also there's going to be Elseworlds. There's still going to be Elseworlds cartoons. There's still going to be Matt Reeves, the Batman. And that one's not connected to my Batman. But Matt Reeves, who's doing the Batman, his Arkham show is connected in my world. It feels like you're just running into the exact same problems that your reboot was supposed to eliminate. A TV show about Arkham Asylum, no matter what universe it's set in, sounds great. That is a great idea for a show. I'm gonna probably love that no matter what. But I do hope that they don't stretch Matt Reeves too thin. And I do appreciate that James Gunn recognizes that even though Matt Reeves the Batman isn't going to be his Batman, at least he recognizes that, hey, this Matt Reeves guy has talent. Why don't we lock him in to do stuff with us, in addition to doing what he's already been contracted to do? So at least James Gunn has a good eye for talent, among other things, and hopefully he'll snatch up a lot of talented people to help build his new DC universe starting in 2025.
I'm looking forward to it too.
WWE women's star and Chucky alumni Liv Morgan got busted for marijuana possession in Florida, which is one of the last places you want to be busted for marijuana possession. Or so I've heard from other people.
We would not know.
She goes to court in February about it, and she says that the vape pen paraphernalia they found in her rental car was not hers. The problem is they found other drugs and drug paraphernalia in the rental car as well, and presumably those were hers. But maybe she'll say they weren't, I don't know. I will say, things...
Maybe other stuff was prescription.
They could be for her pain or whatnot. And things do get left behind in rental cars all the time. My family found a box of Cuban cigars under the seat once when we had a rental car. And we took them and we gave them to my uncle and he loved them. So, good luck to Liv Morgan, I guess.
By the way, who got inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Oh, you want to talk that wrestling news? You can't wait to hear that wrestling news, right? Yeah, I'm sure a lot of wrestling nerds are going to skip to this part. First of all, we got MJF inducted into the National Jewish Sports Hall of Fame. On X, MJF brilliantly stayed in character and said, "An incredible honor, hashtag better than you."
I know there's not a lot of Jewish wrestlers, or not a lot of people that admit they're Jewish or whatever, or come out and say they're Jewish. But honestly, he hasn't been wrestling that long, has he?
He's only been on TV for about 5 years, and one of those years was the COVID years, which wasn't great for wrestling as a whole, really. He's won the AEW championship a few times. Some people, especially and including MJF himself, say that he has the potential of a young Rowdy Roddy Piper, but personally, and I'll take the heat on this one from the comments section, but personally, I feel like dude is a little overrated. I feel like he's good in a certain role, and when he has no limitations put on him, but with those limitations and recasted, I don't know if he would be as good. Much like how Shane Douglas was very good, but never quite made it in WWE, I don't know if MJF would be able to either. Cut to me 5 years from now being like, so MJF just main evented WrestleMania and I'm an idiot.
Yeah, but it's Hall of Fame. I mean, really, Hall of Fame, in my book, kind of means you have to be out there for over 10 years, let's hope. I mean, he's like a baby. They're letting babies into the Hall of Fame now.
And wrestling's a work, and there's that whole thing too. I don't know off the top of my head, are there other Jewish pro wrestlers in the Hall of Fame? Is Goldberg in there?
I don't know, but if he wasn't, he should be.
Comment down below, who would you like to see in the Hall of Fame? Who is in the Jewish...
That's Jewish.
Yeah. Yeah, who is in the National Jewish Hall of Fame? Comment down below, let us know. When does Barry Horowitz go in? That's what I want to know. The Dudleys will also be inducted into the 2300 Arena's Hardcore Hall of Fame during WrestleMania weekend on April 5th in the Philadelphia area, and that's appropriate for them. They made most of their success in ECW, and the 2300 Arena was formerly the ECW Arena. So congratulations to them. In fact, appropriately enough, they'll be the 23rd inductees into the 2300 Arena. You see what they did there, Kit?
Fancy. They can count. And we can count with them. Fancy. But you know what? That's only 2 of the Dudley brothers. Aren't there 4?
There's more than 4.
I remember Spike being a Dudley brother.
Spike was a Dudley brother. Yeah, you had Spike, you had Sign Guy Dudley, you had Dances with Dudley. Yeah, that's my question too. This always bothers me when the Wrestling Hall of Fames do this, because they've done this with the Four Horsemen, they've done this with the NWO on the WWE Hall of Fame side of it. When you induct members of a group, you need to clarify, are you inducting the whole group? Or just the original members of the group? Are you just inducting the Dudleys tag team? Just Devon and Bubba? Or is it the entire Dudley clan? I remember when the WWE inducted the NWO into the Hall of Fame. You had Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Hulk Hogan there. Sure, makes sense, they're the original trio, right? But then you also had Sean Waltman there. And no disrespect to Sean Waltman, but he was number 6 in the NWO. So... you're saying 1, 2, 3, and also 6? Well, what about 4 and 5? What about, 7 through 20, or however many NWO members there were by the end? Are they all inducted too?
Yeah, I think somebody's getting left out, and somebody's going to be crying over spilt milk over this. If it was me, it would be Spike, because I really liked Spike. Out of the Dudley brothers, Spike was my favorite, so him getting kind of shafted is kind of like hardcore, and, it makes sense to a certain extent, but it makes me feel bummed out for him.
I don't know off the top of my head if the Hardcore Hall of Fame has inductors similar to the WWE Hall of Fame, where they try to let the guys pick who can induct them. If Spike has to induct his brothers, that would be... I mean, I'm sure he would do it. I'm sure he loves those guys in real life and everything, but... that's kind of like a huge FU. Hey, you're part of the family, but we get the Hall of Fame treatment. You induct us, though.
That's like a thumbtack to the forehead, if you ask me. If he has to induct them, that's so rude.
But hilarious. You know what would be great? He inducts them, right? And then they turn heel on him and put him through one more table just for the heck of it.
Yeah, as a fan, that would be kind of awesome. But I don't know if they'll do that. That sounds like a little bit too much fun, Maybe they can't do it now. I mean, because they're a lot older now, so maybe they can't pick them up anymore. Maybe they just look at Spike, and Spike's like, oh, come on, guys, do I really have to? And he has to throw himself through the table.
Well, speaking of Hall of Famers, legendary actor Rick Moranis recently made a sort of a comeback to acting. He appeared in the new Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie, whatever that's gonna end up being, and he appeared alongside Deadpool himself in Ryan Reynolds' Mint Mobile commercial. A lot of people were wondering if this means he's going to come back to acting full-time. When he appeared in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but not Ghostbusters Afterlife or anything else, some people kind of assumed that maybe Disney just lured him back with their Disney money. But then he did this Mint Mobile thing, so now it's like, okay, is he going to be in Ghostbusters Frozen Empire? And actually, he had a comment about that, Kit. You know what that was?
I don't think he was only lured by Scrooge McDuck buckets of money. I think he, was maybe a little bit, done with it and he wanted to rest. And maybe he thinks his fans didn't really like him that much, or that he'd be missed. And I think he heard from all the flack from the message boards and stuff that, yeah, your fans were really bummed out that you weren't in any of the Ghostbusters movies. So come back. The new ones, that is. You know what I mean?
Apparently, Rick Moranis agrees with you because he commented on it, and he mentioned that he's willing to come back, but he doesn't just want to do some cameo. He said if he's going to do it, then he wants to really do it. And how do you say no to him if you're the Ghostbusters producers? I would definitely love to see what happened to Louis Tully. Maybe get him involved, maybe get his child involved since Ghostbusters is trying to pass the torch now. We even got Sigourney Weaver in the last one for a quick cameo to find out what happened to her. Why not find out what happened to Louis Tully too, you know? Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime, won a Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations to him.
A little bit of sad news here, though. Max Payne voice actor James McCaffrey passed away. He also starred in television shows including Rescue Me. And more recently, he was in the remaster of Alan Wake, where he did the voices for Thomas Zane and Alex Casey. Studio A24, which brought us Now on Prime, the Michelle Yeoh, Ki Hui Kwan, and Stephanie Su, Everything Everywhere All at Once is teaming up with Japanese video game designer Hideo Kojima, who's widely considered the father of the stealth game genre, to bring his video game Death Stranding to film. And Mads Mikkelsen, Margaret Qualley, Lee Sedol, and Guillermo del Toro will also be in it. Gotta say, I loved Michelle Yeoh since the early 90s. I really enjoyed the 1993 film's Heroic Trio and the sequel, Heroic Trio Executioners, where she, Maggie Cheung, and the much-beloved late music icon Anita Mui played triple roles, and I think that both those films are seriously underrated. Yeoh's recent Western resurgence is long overdue. I loved her as Guan Yin in this year's Disney Plus series Chinese American, as well as Xian in this year's Witcher Blood Origin, as well as her recurring roles in Star Trek Discovery as Philippa Georgiou and in the film Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings as Ying Nan.
Kojima is also working on a Death Stranding 2 video game, as well as collaborating with Jordan Peele on an Xbox horror video game called OD, as in overdose. Honestly, Jordan Peele is half and half for me. I know a lot of people love him and think he's like the best horror director now, but I've only liked half his stuff. The half I've liked, though, I've loved. So he's very hit or miss, but hopefully this video game will be a hit. The teaser features Sophia Lillis of It, Hunter Schafer of Euphoria, and Udo Kier from a long list of films.
Speaking of video games being turned into movies or TV series, Prime Video is supposed to get a Fallout series sometime in April of 2024. And although we don't have a release date or network, we can look forward to Legend of Zelda, Cyberpunk 2077, Gears of War, Pac-Man, God of War, and BioShock getting their own series, hopefully, if not just a movie.
I promise you, every video game that studios can get their hands on is about to get a movie adaptation. Five Nights at Freddy's killed it at the box office. Mario did well at the box office. Sonic. They're going to start turning every video game into a movie now, and it's going to be a great time to be a video game fan.
Hoping the ones we like, not the ones we couldn't stand playing.
You don't want The Rock's Doom 2?
Please, no.
Speaking of stuff we don't want to see, Mark Wahlberg is still trying to greenlight Lee Majors' $6 Million Man reboot.
I loved Lee Majors as Brock Williams in the Ash vs. Evil Dead. Smoke show or not, don't you think it's been so long that Mark might be too old if it's a TV series? Maybe he'd make a better Oscar Goldman now. Do you think they'll have the Bionic Woman, Jamie Summers, in it too?
I just can't take Mark Wahlberg seriously. Bless his heart, he's a good man, he does his best, and he's hilarious in some of the comedies he does, but I can't imagine him as the $6 Million Man. Come on now. We got the technology to make you stronger. You eat some Wahlburgers.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's definitely a carbo load, Wahlburgers.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're any good. I just know that the one that opened by me is now closed.
I've never had one. Maybe they're delicious. We don't know.
I have no clue. They probably are. I don't know. Maybe not many people went. I don't know.
A $6 million man does not eat Wahlburgers, or any burgers for that matter. I'll tell you that right now.
Veggie burgers. There you go. He eats a burger, a veggie burger.
And that'll do it for us this week on Geek News. Tune in next time for another bite of the GeeKlare.